Hello, world. We are on another live stream. We are doing live streams twice a week at the moment. So they are banging out. Today, I am joined with the quietly mighty Marina, who is a developer at Edgar Allan, and she also runs the CSP program, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. Marina, welcome to the live stream.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone.
And Marina is just the best. She sorts out any Edgar Allan website issue within seconds of me sending a message. She's awesome. So it's great to have her on the stream. And what is CSP for anyone that's like, you just said she's head of CSP. What does that mean?
Well, in like words, it's a client success program. But what we actually do here in this program, we're actually like a part of the client team. That's how I see it. Like we're working with them to grow the website, to do what like all the updates needed, bugs maybe, improvements, ideas, everything. Like we are growing together. Like creating the website is one thing, but you need to keep it alive at all times. So
Yeah, 100%. A website is never done. Does that ever depress you?
no, I like it.
It's
It's
constantly
not
something to
depressing.
improve. I guess it's a little bit like life, though, right? Like, you're never done, which you might look at like, oh, that's really sad. Like, you're never the best version of yourself. But then it's always something to improve. Vice versa with a website. There's always things to fix, stuff breaks.
Like with kids, you have a kid, but it's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of the story.
I don't have a kid,
You have,
just to be clear.
you know.
Oh, you're just
Oh,
saying
okay.
you, as in like generally.
Like the project, like the website is like a
Oh,
kid. You're
okay, yeah.
having a website, but you need to help it grow and
Yes,
live.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's how I
and
see it.
especially in the early stages, just like a kid, it needs a ton of support.
Like,
Like when you launch a website, it's like it's launched. Okay, now what do we do? And that's actually the really critical bit for it to be either a success or a failure, depending on what your goals of the website are. And I guess as well, like the when there's bugs fixing and stuff like that, there's also maybe new pages to be launched, maybe content to be created, and you're trying to help all of
like
those different things through with the client.
redesign, SEO, everything. We're covering everything, whatever is needed. There we are there.
It
So that's
sounds
why we have like
tough
a
gig.
lot of different requests, and that's what I love about it. It's not like not boring. You're not doing the same thing, or we're always doing a different thing. So that's the opportunity to grow personally and to learn more skills.
Yeah, and I guess you have learned a ton of skills because there's all sorts of clients that are asking for different things, and you're like, "Yeah, okay, I'll just work out how to do this and then apply that, and then someone else will have a slightly different problem, and you're like, okay, well, I learned this over here, so I'm going to try and bring this over here. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, exactly, and that's like where the Slater comes in. Like I have to tell you, 2 years ago on this day, I didn't even know what Webflow is.
Wow,
I'm just gonna say that. Yeah,
that is
and
mental.
like yesterday, I managed to write like code this big all by myself, and it worked. So
Hey, that is
it's
the clip for Slater Twitter. That is the clip right there. I do think it's insanely exciting that we can essentially build the web we want to see by using a combination of Webflow and Slater and all sorts of other tools to integrate with. It's wild how
it is.
it's just like your like world can just open up in such a crazy way now, which is amazing. So Slater came about because there were internal projects in Edgar Allan that were just pushing the boundaries of Webflow, the native Webflow capabilities. And for anyone that doesn't know the story, there's this website called Let a Run in the chat. And yeah, Jared, who is head of dev, he was doing all sorts of stuff, and people were asking him questions, and then there was a lot of roadblocks, and he was like, okay, how can we make something that utilizes ChatGPT, which is very, very new at the time, to help the devs answer code questions, organize the code a lot easier, and streamline the whole process with custom code in Webflow, and have a team account as well. So that's kind of how Slater came to be. Have I got that story right, Marina?
Yeah, almost. I would just add one part to teach all us, like no-code developers, how to no code. Like the Slater slogan is. Like, I see it like a very, very powerful teaching tool. Like, that's how I learned. Like, I didn't know even to read a JavaScript at all. It was like, oh, okay, this bunch of code, let me just call Jared. Like, but now I can understand it. I can manipulate it. I can ask Slater to explain it to me. That's what that usually was like my first step to do if I'm using like some external code that I found somewhere in some online sources. And then I can, when it explains it to me, it's easy for me to ask it to tweak it for me, to update it in a way that I can use it. So it is powerful. Like, for me, it actually opened the entire new world. I have to say that.
That's something that's worth saying as well, because a lot of people are like, well, what's the difference between ChatGPT and whatever, VS Code and GitHub Copilot or whatever? But I think the cool thing about this is that Slater not only gets you the code, but you can manipulate it within the code editor and organize your code to be deployed to individual pages or globally. And it's just built exactly for Webflowers to be able to do custom code in Webflow projects really seamlessly. So it's like a learning tool, it's an organization tool, and a deployment tool, and a hosting. And it's like, I think it's such an incredible tool. Let's talk a little bit about how you're using custom code within Edgar Allan then, because I think a lot of people are like, they look at Edgar Allan and they're like, it's like one of those incredible agencies. I won't ever do that again. Please don't. Okay, cool. I've got that unicorn energy today. Yeah, they look at Edgar Allan and they're like, wow, that is the kind of gold standard of how we should be doing things. And I think it's really interesting to have a look at how individuals are using it, which is what we mainly focus on in these streams, but also like how do agencies use it. And as someone in the agency, I think it's an interesting thing to look at together.
Like, what I love about it is like edit roles feature. It's super helpful for the team. Like, we have a lot of developers and we are a team. So when I'm working on something, or let's say like this, somebody else created original project, put some code there, then the client comes to the CSP afterwards. So I'm continue maintaining the code. I have the permission to go to manipulate that code. If I cannot do it myself, then there's Jared who can jump in and help, or anybody else. But we don't have to do anything in the Webflow. It's already there. It's already set. And then that's amazing. I love everything about it, because I don't have to go each time, add code, publish, see if it's working. It's just like the changes are live, and then it saves you so much time doing it that way. And the other thing that I love is like option to save it for development, or to save it to like live, like to the staging or to the production link, because like it's work in progress. Sometimes I need days to make it work right, and during all this iteration of the editing the code, some bugs are happening. But like with the option not to publish it live, to be live only on staging, like it's amazing. At least for me, like this is the most important part. And then when I need help or support by somebody, I just say, can you please look at it? I'm not seeing something. Can you help me? And they jump in, and they don't have to do anything in the Webflow and just go there and the code is there. Like, it's awesome. Like, editing role and the two option for publishing is what I think it's the best. Of course, explaining code is one thing that I use a lot. And I mean, debug, of course.
Yeah, I mean it's but let's not forget the kind of organization capacity of Slater as well. It's super
Yeah.
helpful.
I
Can
mean,
we?
it's for some codes they're huge. It's like you cannot do it other way, like because the Webflow has a limitation for the amount of JavaScript you can have. So having that and having the
Yeah.
ability to just allow who is going to temper your code, it's amazing.
Yeah. Can we possibly share your screen and let's have a little look at Slater together? Is that all right? Just because
Sure,
I
let's
think
do it
all of this
now.
stuff, if people are watching for the first time, they might be like, you're talking about editor roles and you're talking about organizing code and things, but it's a little bit abstract for someone that's maybe trying to get their head around it.
Yes. Okay.
And
I can share something like this with you. This is my
yeah.
Slater. I have a lot of pages here. And this is
Okay,
like
amazing.
one of the huge codes that we recently figured out. And imagine, like 2 years ago, I didn't know any of this, and now I can just understand what's there. But let's see, maybe, let's see what this one is doing, for example. We don't know. I added some code here, and I can just ask Slater to explain it to me. And then when he explains to me, then I would know, okay, maybe I don't need this. Maybe this is, I should ask him to update this differently.
Do you think
Like
Slater's a he, by the way?
Yeah, because it's like a surf guy. I don't know. You don't? I don't know. Nice. I see Slater as a bit. I don't know why, but it's like that in my mind when it's a he. Yeah.
I think of Slater like wit. I don't know why. I just think of him like a surfer dude, and Slater just embodies wit.
It is. So let's see what this code is doing. It really explains you everything. So first gets all the element with the class name and this, and then do this. Like step by step, it's like first step, second step, it will explain everything that is happening here. So if something is not working, you can just see here, like what is the thing that you need to update. Or what I do sometimes, I tell him like literally, this is what's happening when this is not happening, or I need this to happen, and then it actually just gets you. It's weird. Just let me just like, I had like some different requests from clients, because usually something specific comes to the for the request. It's not like, it's always something tricky to create, but there are some basic stuff that like are every day in a Webflow, like how to sort multi-reference list, or like the recent one that I did is one for the UTM. Like you want to store your UTMs. Sorry, let me just go here quickly. Maybe it's here. No, sorry for this. UTMs. You want to store your UTMs even if the user who came to a page like go to other page but fill in the form later on. So you want to see where that person came from. Oh. Something's wrong here.
Can we just look at that quickly?
Yeah, tell me.
The UTM links, like,
yeah.
So you're doing that within Slater. You've asked Slater to create a UTM link.
Well, that's an option too. Like I have the one I can show you, like from the previous project. Let me just find it. I did create UTMs also, but when you have a link with the UTM, for example, and you want to track how user engage with your website, like that's how it usually is happening. And then if the user goes off that page, the UTMs will disappear. So what we want to do here, am I still sharing? No. We want to keep those UTMs there. So we know, let's show, sorry. We have the link with the UTMs. What are we doing here? We want to extract them, like here, save them somewhere in the local storage, and we want to keep them. So if you go to that page and then you click home page or any other page or book a demo, and then you land on a form somewhere else, it's going to be saved there. So you would know and you can track what were your original campaign that brings that user to your website. Requests like that are really often, or something easy, like if you have different collection lists filtered differently, but you don't want the items to repeat on the page. Something easy like that, or something very huge like the previous code that I show you with this guided content and the short cookie and the long cookie option. Like everything is possible, just really everything. So, and I'm using it for all kind of things, like social share, easy. Just give it this and it gives me, I think I have the one UTM links. See, I just created for Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn share, all different kind, banner, top banner, announcements banner, dismiss function, saves the cookie for some time when you land on the page. Like there is so many different examples here, and it is super easy because, like, for me now that I understand the request, I just go here and start chat. And that's it.
Yeah, you
It's
just
like
chat with
sometimes it
Slater.
takes like days, and sometimes it just finishes in like hours. So you just start a chat, and it's so cool. Like at least for me, who are like really, really not into this world at all.
Yeah,
And
you
that
can just
excitement when you get something actually working, like, oh, that's like, it's the best for me. It's like a unicorn
awesome. It's
vibe.
like a unicorn. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay, so
beautiful.
some really interesting use cases there that I think are really important to talk about, because a lot of people are like, well, why would I need custom code in my Webflow projects? Well, there's a lot of different use cases that Webflow doesn't necessarily natively handle. A very similar situation we had yesterday with a guy called Josiah Duenas, who came on a live stream, and he talked about having a pop-up that only came up if the user hadn't been on the site for 30 days, and things like that. That it's not a lot of custom code, but it's just a little bit of custom code that means that you can have that flexibility with extra features and stuff that your client may be requesting, and that you might be like, how do I do that? And it's like, just go to Slater.
Exactly.
It's super easy. And then in terms of like your Slater project there had like all these individual different pages. Are they all for one individual client? Is it like, you've got multiple
Yeah,
different projects like that?
the one that I shared is just like my playground, where I test some things. But for the clients, we usually have like the project for the client, and then inside that project, like individual pages for individual piece of code. Like for example, on book a demo page, I need one code to not allow submission of emails like Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo, but I don't need it on the homepage. So for the homepage, I have maybe some different code for the slider or something like that.
That makes a ton of sense. And that playground, is that possible? I mean, are you happy to share that code? Because the community library is soon to be launched. And and we are gathering code snippets. And I was looking at your Slater playground, and I was like, these are like the best code snippets ever. Like super useful, quite easy to manipulate code snippets, like with real practical examples to actually implement in Webflow projects. So that would be amazing if I can steal
Yeah,
that from you.
of course.
I know that you've built it up over months, and you're probably just like, I don't want to give this away. But there
No,
will
I
be
won't.
rewards, Marina. There will be rewards as well.
Oh,
There's going to be
tell me more.
Slater merch, among other things, with the Slater Advocates program that we are building alongside the community library. So don't you worry if anyone's watching and is like, why would I give my code snippets away? I've sweated over these. hey, we will reward you. And you are obviously helping the community, which is the spirit of being in Webflow. Um, okay, what I'm interested in, Marina, is if you were the head of product for Slater, if you had the power to determine the direction of the Slater roadmap, is there anything that you think you would want to change, improve? I always ask this on the live stream, and people give all sorts of different answers. So I just wonder if there's anything that you're like, hey, we need to talk about this.
Well, I would share all my insights on this, but like one thing that I wanted to mention to Jared, but I didn't have time to, is maybe I would add like a stop button. So sometimes I, in a rush to ask later a question, I just write something, but no, I forgot to write one key piece that I need. So
Yeah.
I just would like to stop him and then just, that is the thing, like the feature wise that I might add to it. But I don't know. Like for me, like from my perspective, I see it as a teaching tool. Like honestly, that's how I see it. For me, it is like it was my tool to learn and to understand what's happening here. Like, but I guess I was a developer, so that's why it was a teaching thing for me. But maybe for other people would have any some other like, I don't know, main benefits. But I don't know. I would like all agencies that has developers to have it, because like it's so easy when you have to add that code once, and then you can just go, and anyone from the team can just go add pages, add codes, and like you don't even have to have access to the Webflow at all. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. And especially since that, you know, it's sometimes a little bit awkward if clients try and edit the code within the within the Webflow code editor. Whereas with Slater, you can obviously transfer that to your client, and then you can both still have access to it. But permissions mean that you can determine how that works a little bit tighter than you would be able to otherwise. I think that's a really great feature. This needs to be brought up. Have you written down all your feedback? And I mean, is there somewhere that you
Yeah,
keep all this
no.
feedback?
No.
Okay, Marina, I am trying to compile all this feedback into a doc that's going to help shape the roadmap, because we want to really tighten that process. So if you can, giving you some personal homework, and also anyone else that's watching, if you guys haven't done this already, like the product is very much being made off the back of community input. So yeah, any feedback that you, Marina, or anyone else that's watching has, please do let us know, because it really, really does shape how we build and what we build and when we build. When I say we, I'm not building anything. Jared and all the amazing Edgar Allan team are doing that job, just to be clear. Question about organizing your code. So sometimes people say, "Oh, well, Slater just it's the same as ChatGPT. Like, why would I use Slater?" What would you say to that?
I would say it's not, because like I mentioned it before, and maybe I'm repeating, but like with ChatGPT, you have to copy the code and then go to the Webflow and then paste it and then test it and then over and over and over again. And then like people who ever try to create anything in JavaScript, they know how it's not like one iteration. It's like thousands of iterations sometimes. Like maybe for me, somebody is a bit quicker, but at least for me. So like having ability to just save and refresh the page and save and refresh the page is like so much. I save so much time. Like with ChatGPT, it's completely different, because each time I have to go, I have to open the Webflow, I have to publish, and sometimes you're not able to publish because like the client is in the designer, or they're working on some blog or anything else, and they don't want you to publish, or you have to have their permission to publish anything. That's why like it just separates your code part from the Webflow, and then like you have like more independency while working on the code itself.
Great answer. Yeah. Love that. I think ChatGPT, yes, ChatGPT is built into Slater. So you're like, well, why would I pay for Slater? Because I can just use ChatGPT, which is the core of how you get the code. Fine. But there are so many other benefits. Like manipulating the code is so much easier in Slater than deploying the code to specific website pages, hosting the code, transferring the cost of the code to the client, being able to still edit the code. Like there's so many different things that I think are really
Like
important to
even from the
highlight.
client perspective, also if they have ability to add permission, like today they will give me and Jared mobile permission to do it. Like tomorrow, maybe they will have their own like developer who will gonna do it. Like it's just they're owning the code, and the code is safe, the code is there. Even if they wanna try something on their own, they can. We have clients who know how to code, who know the Webflow, and maybe already have some snippets done, but they just want to put it there by themselves. They don't have to give us to do it for them, so they can just do it. Or maybe they want to just change one thing, and yeah, it's super easy and super useful, because then you can just publish it, but for the development purpose only, and see if it's working. And if it's working, then only then put it on the live page. So that's the one more feature. Like I don't know how could I like work without, honestly.
Wow, what an accolade to Slater there. This is great. Is there anything that you think is really worth talking about in the context of Slater that we haven't spoken about already?
I don't know. I think I mentioned this before, but it would be nice to have like maybe some after transfer tutorials, like for the clients. That would be cool. I don't know.
Marina, you are speaking my love language. Um, education is, we definitely need to get that going. There's a guy called Kabaza who's actually going to be making a lot of content for Slater when the new UI is done. For anyone that doesn't know who's watching along, there's quite a lot of changes happening behind the scenes to the face of the product. We've spent a lot of time on the marketing side, and now there's a ton of effort and energy being put into the actual product itself, implementing a lot of feedback that you guys have been giving us. So after that whole UI has changed, not changed so dramatically, but it is changing quite a lot, then there'll be a lot more educational content. But Marina, if you are doing a lot of the client facing transferring stuff, and you want to, like, if you've got feedback or particular videos that you think would be super helpful, um, I know that Mason would be very, very keen to know about that, because I think there's kind of, now the product is kind of transitioning a little bit, not transitioning, but there's a whole new user group that we need to be able to communicate very clearly with. And that requires a completely different vernacular. Like you can't just say the same words that you say to a Webflow dev that's been custom coding for years. Like these guys don't know what you're talking about. So how you manage that will be really key moving forward. I think we have got, I'm just asking you personal questions about Slater now, which I don't think are like that. I think there's things that I probably need to talk to you about off a live stream, actually. um, because there's a lot of things that you're bringing up that I'm like, actually, I don't know if we should be live streaming everything that we're saying. So unless there's anything like burning to say, I think we can end there. And then what I might do is just ask you a few questions that I can
Sure,
bring back to
let's
Mason and
do that.
Jared. Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. This was epic. I've got so many nice clips that I'm going to send to Jose, and he's going to make them look beautiful. Nice little things about how agencies are using this, because I think we've had a lot of streams with people that are individuals, but it's very, very different when it's like, okay, as part of a team with clients that need ongoing support, what does that code, how does Slater fit into that? I think it's really important. So thank you for coming on, sharing what you've shared. You're way better at this than you said you were, by the way.
Yeah,
You were
I'm
like,
shaking here.
You like,
I'm
I'm
holding
terrible,
to
so
my unit.
you're like, I'm so nervous and all this, and then you just come on here just like, yeah, so Slater, and you're just so casual, easy,
Yeah. Thank you.
easy,
I think it was
easy.
you actually. You make it
Oh,
sound
just
easy.
me being weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
You're being weirder than that.
yeah, I think I need to go full weird to let other people be their weirdness, you know. I need to fully lean into that weirdness. I found that, yeah, if I'm too normal, then people are like, "Ah." um, I'm gonna stop singing. I
Please.
need to do some karaoke, get it out of my system. Okay, let's end the stream there. Thanks so much for everyone who's watching. Thank you to Marina for sharing everything that she shared. Epic stuff. End of
Thanks,
stream.
Dad.